Illegal and legal drugs are highly abused in the United States. The government attempts to create laws to reduce and control substance abuse. Drugs which are abused: illegal drugs: marijuana, cocaine, heroin, meth, acid, and shrooms. Legal drugs: prescription-based drugs and alcohol.
Yes, they are very addictive.
Are those painkillers more addictive than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are in Schedule 1 are addictive.
Dominate drug trafficking into the U.S. Their operations and methods are sophisticated, ruthless, and well-funded. Their notorious presence and power in Mexico is made possible by bribery and corruption, intimidation, paramilitary force, and murder. The impact of their operations in the United States has been widespread. This subcommittee held a hearing in March.
Okay, next question. Do you feel the government does a well job controlling illegal drug use?
I mean, I think they always try to go for the, I don't know if I'm even using the right words, but like the ringleader, like the big fish. I kind of grew up in a small town, and we kind of suspected some activity in the small town, and he wasn't the big fish. So the cops really didn't care about trying to get him. So I'm not necessarily sure that agree that, I just feel like they should, if they know something's going on, arrest those people and not just always try to worry about getting the big guy. So I think they could do a little bit better with the regulation.
And your last question, do you feel drug abuse percentages is higher in school systems, in young teenagers, or adults, or both?
Since I'm a teacher, I'm just gonna say maybe it's higher with students. Being a stat teacher, I could probably look up the stats on it if it's grown or not. I think I graduated in 2000 from high school, and drugs weren't really a big issue in my school. It was probably more beer and cigarettes. There weren't a ton of kids doing marijuana or even stronger drugs. So when you hear other schools where kids are kind of into cocaine and meth, and I think meth has been in the media a lot because it's easy and cheap to make. So just seeing that on the news, I feel like there probably is an increase with just use across the board, students, adults.
Officer Hartwell's interview. Do you feel drug abuse has gotten worse over the years? I believe drug abuse dealing with marijuana has increased in teens because they see it being legalized in states and they think it's okay because marijuana is a natural grown plant, meaning it probably won't cause any harm. And I also believe meth and heroin use has increased in adults over the years because it's cheap and easy to make and extremely addictive. Do you feel the government does a nice job controlling drug use? Border-wise, no. The border is too big for it all to be supervised, and there are underground tunnels and enclosed trucks trafficking drugs into the United States. Do you feel drug abuse percentages high in school systems, young teenagers, adults, or both? It depends on the type of drug. Marijuana use is higher in schools and teenagers, while narcotics and prescription drugs are more with adults. Statistics have shown an increase in marijuana use in teens, with a decrease in teens using harder drugs such as meth.
The questions as it relates to relative risk is I think many times that conversation gets distorted, that there's no risk, that there's...
I'm not trying to trap you.
No. But this is why, Representative, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Let me suggest that your inability to answer me whether tobacco or marijuana is more dangerous, again, is part of the problem. Mr. Connolly documented very clearly that we have been able to drop dramatically tobacco use. And it kills more people than marijuana, if you don't know that. But we've been able to drop that without locking people up, without arresting. I think this administration has seen 3 to 4 million people arrested for marijuana since it's been in office. And yet we've been able to drop tobacco use without being coercive. We've been using fact-based advertising, and we've focused our efforts on things that matter rather than things that don't work. And I'd respectfully suggest that you and the department take a step back if you're concerned that somehow people think marijuana is benign. That part of the reason is that drug professionals can't communicate in ways that the rest of America does. I appreciate your being here, and I welcome any written follow-up to my questions. Because I'm not trying to trap you, but I'm very discouraged by your inability to answer questions.
So let me tell you, this morning I spent the bulk of my morning with a number of parents from across the country who are doing everything they can do to prevent drug use, and particularly prescription drug use, and many of them whose kids have died of an overdose. And I asked them, what more can the federal government be doing in terms of preventing substance use and preventing the tragedies? And they told me they cannot understand why states are moving to medical marijuana and legal medical marijuana. They cannot understand it because they understand from a very acute level the message that legalization sends them. And these are, so